So this talk is about how to migrate your native apps to Flutter. And a lot of you have not done, but a lot of you have, or might have came across this thing. Okay, do I need to migrate my native application to Flutter? Okay. Or should I create my application from scratch? Okay. And then you will bump up into lot of problems, okay, that you might know or you might not know. Okay, so we are going to see how we can do all the planning stuffs. Okay, so there is no code here. Okay, no demonstration of code. It's just pure theory things that we all will try to understand. Okay, so let's get started. The agenda is first why migration. Okay, why we need that. Okay, we have to understand that part. Then migration approach. So there are a few migration approach that we will look. Then the most important part is migration planning. Okay, yeah, this is very important if you want to do the migration. And I'm going to share you my learnings. Okay, what I have learned, what I have experienced while migrating Zest Money app from native to Flutter. And in the end, we'll have Q&A. Okay, so I guess we all agree with this thing, right? That Flutter is the best platform to build mobile application for Android and iOS. Okay, I'm not talking about other platforms, but yeah, for mobile, it's the best platform available in the market. And yes, here I am. So I'm Vivek Yadav. I'm a mobile team lead at Zest Money. I'm Google developer expert for Flutter and Dart, community leader at India Flutter and Mumbai Flutter, and I try to contribute in every possible way, be it as a mentor, a trainer, a teacher, or anything. Cool. About Zest, so Zest is a buy now pay later company, one of the leading company here in India in the lending fintech segment. Okay, so cool. That's all about me. So let's try to see, do we really need to migrate our application or not? Okay. Oh, nice. Okay, so so this is a scenario, okay, where all of these sitting guys are developers, and that standing lady is a you can say product manager, okay, or any manager. She comes to you and tells that, okay, I heard that Flutter is one of the best platform or a framework to build application. Let's build our application into Flutter. Leave iOS and leave Android. Let's do that. Okay, and if you really love Flutter, you're like, okay, ma'am, I wanted this day in my company. Otherwise, I would left this company, right? And I did that, by the way. So, yeah, as soon as you heard, okay, let's do this migration part, let's create our own application. All developers are like this, okay? Let's build our own thing. Let's reinvent the whole wheel again, right? Right? Okay, can I see hands who are agree with me? Okay, a few hands, but yeah, I'm one of them. And that's what I did at Zest Money as well. And that's why I am going to share you all of my learnings. Okay, the first thing, why migration? Right? Why you might need your app migration? Right? I mean, Android and iOS are working fine, right? Why do you need Flutter? Right? All Flutter GDs will be like, yaar, mera job mat ka. Okay, so cool. So there are lots of things available why you should migrate your native application or other framework application into Flutter. Okay, now let's first look at from the point of view of product manager, right? There might be some product manager here, or there might be some wannabe product managers here. So yeah, you can look at that. The first thing is better UI UX. With Flutter, you can build better UI. Also, you can plan better UX as compared to other frameworks in the market, right? The second part, faster application, right? As Pawan said that the Flutter is nothing but a wrapper on the Android and iOS. And as soon as you think that something is lacking behind, you can use platform channels to do that functionality. That means no compromise on application performance. And then beautiful app for every screen, right? You want that, right? You just have to build your application once, you write your code once, and it should look beautiful on every screen. When I say every screen, that means it can be a tablet, it can be iPhone, it can be an Android phone, or even a Mac OS project that Pratik built, right? Then, easy and fast releases. This is very important for product managers, right? They come to you and they will say, okay, this is a feature, and now we want to release it tomorrow, right? So, yeah, so Flutter is for you guys that, yeah, you can easily build your things and release it much faster as compared to other frameworks, okay? Let me remove this mouse pointer. Yep. Now save money, right? In a lot of companies, these product managers or project managers, they assign a widget. The company assign them a budget, okay? And then in that budget, they have to work. So with Flutter, you can save money, right? And I don't know if you can see. Okay, yeah. So your development and release cost is reduced because of single code base and blah blah things that you know about Flutter, right? Okay. Now let's talk about app developers, right? So yeah. So for you, it's the faster development, right? You have hot restart, hot reload, and a lot of other things that's why you love Flutter, right? Yeah. So you can build and iterate your features quickly as compared to other frameworks. Okay, then transform your workflow. So with Flutter and with the Dart tools and with the other tools available in the market, you can automate your things. Even if something is not available, you can build by your own. And the example was IPM, right? We saw before the lunch. And the third thing, documentation and community. So, okay, every GD and GDG guy will love this picture. Okay, so this is from ICS. So all these guys are the from community, either from Flutter or from some other thing. But yeah, they are contributing into Flutter, and we have one of the best and loved community for the tech. So yeah, and documentation community is one of the best thing that an app developer can think of. Okay, and I think this is last, but yeah, you don't have to maintain multiple code base until you're using platform channels, okay? So yeah, you don't have to maintain multiple code base, and you don't have to worry about deployment every time, right? You test it on one platform, and you can be sure that it will run on other platforms. Oh, one more. And I just want to know who love this feature of Flutter. Okay, I don't think so everyone loves open source. Cool, so Flutter is open source. That means you can go and read each and every line that Google developers or the actual Flutter developers who build the platform, right? So you can read their code and understand what can be, their technique to write code and how you can optimize your Flutter apps as well, right? So, yep. Sorry. So now that we know, okay, why we should use Flutter, and why we might consider migration, right? Let's think about approach. So it's me. When Zestmoney approached me, okay, now we have to transform or migrate our Android app to Flutter. So I was like, okay, let's think about it. And I spent weeks on understanding, okay, what things might need for migration. And after a few weeks, I was like, that's done, man. That's lots of thinking. Let's get into things and let's start things, okay? So, yep. So while thinking all of this, I came up with 3 approaches. One of them is fully conversion. That means you scrap your native app, okay, and then start your Flutter application from scratch. But this is not applicable for each and every company. Even for me, it was not applicable, right? Because I had lots of features in native application, and to build that, I will require at least 7 to 8 months, right? So yeah, I cannot use that. But if your application have less than 4 features, yes, you can go for it. Okay, it's a fully conversion. Leave your, or I can say scrap your native app or the other platform app and get started with Flutter. Okay. The next thing is hybrid conversion. Okay. And I love this part because at the same time you have Flutter and at the same time you have the other framework code. Here I'm talking about Android native and iOS native. Okay. So this is Flutter in native. That means I already have my native application, right? And inside that I will add my new Flutter modules. Okay. So let's say that Zestmoney is building a new payment module in Flutter. So what we can do, I can build that in Flutter and I can add that in the current native application and then release it. That means My customers don't have to wait for whole conversion, and my customers don't have to wait for the new UX that I might provide in the payment module, right? Yeah, let's see another approach. Okay, that is native in Flutter. So sometimes it happens that you have some critical module in native that will require a lot of time to transform or migrate to Flutter, right? At that time, what you can do, you can get started with the Flutter app, and you can add your native module into Flutter. That means there is no blockage for you if you're trying to migrate your application into Flutter, okay? So that is all about the migration techniques or approach. And again, all of these are my thoughts. You can have your own, and you can, build your own approach as well. So cool. So I added this slide today morning only at 5 a.m. I guess. Yeah. So I was thinking about what else I should tell you, before you can start planning. So that is requirement, right? If you don't have required things, how you can plan things and how you can work on that part, right? So let's look at the requirements. The first thing, if you want to migrate your application into Flutter, yes, you should have Flutter developers, or you should know Flutter. Otherwise, don't do that. Okay. Then, second important thing is availability of packages and plugins, right? As Pawan said, that you won't find that ledger wala plugin, right? That means either you have to create that by your own, right? Or you will not do migration because you cannot do that implementation, right? So in that case, you can stop, or you can go for the hybrid approach. The third and very important thing, it is very important, right? So if your company don't have a product manager who understands why this migration is important, don't start. Otherwise, your life will be in hell. He will constantly ping you, bro, where is my app? You said migration will take few weeks. Now it is few months, right? So yeah. Then again, this is for the PMs, okay? If you are planning to build or you migrate your application, you should have product PRD ready with you, okay? Let's say that you are building or you have this payment model, right? So you should have product PRD. So by the way, PRD means product requirement documentation. That means you should know what you're going to build. And yep, so list of features and list of external packages and plugins. So yeah, that PM should know what kind of plugins we are using. For example, mix panel for notifications, more engage for engagements, right? You should know that if these packages or plugins are available for Flutter or no. Then take PRD. This is also important, right? So you will have an engineering manager or someone who will be overlooking this migration, and he should have all list of features with their complexities and a flow chart. It can be anything like sequence diagram or something to understand them and to let you understand, right? You are going to do that, and you should understand what these things are, okay? Then list of external plugins and again their complexity. So, for example, that ledger wala plugin, right? If you don't know how complex it is, right? How your manager will tell you, okay, build this thing, right? You will be in constant pain. Okay, yeah, this manager is bad, remove him from the company. So, yeah. So again, so these are migration requirements, okay? Again, this is kind of theory. So, but yeah, this is very important, okay? And if you're applying to any company who have a native application, you have to go through this. So, yes, please pay attention to next few slides. That is migration planning, right? So, this was me when I was like, okay, let me build a plan, okay? So, I spent few nights, few weeks, okay, where I was just preparing a plan. And you know what? My plan has failed miserably. So I planned this migration for 3 months, okay? And even after 7 months, I was not able to migrate my app, okay? Because of bad planning. And I didn't actually consider few points from these 3, okay? So that's we are going to look. The first one is, okay, build core functionalities. Your application have core functionalities, right? So if you want to migrate your application to Flutter, your Flutter application should also have this core functionalities, right? Otherwise, it can function. For example, networking, right? If you don't have code for API calls, how you will migrate your application, or how will you write your API calls? Then other thing is interfacing with the outer world. For example, let's say you're communicating something through Bluetooth, right? So you should have something in your application, and that is part of core. So you should have that even before your planning, right? The third thing is database. This is very crucial because in October I spent my 2 weeks on rewriting a plugin for the database part. Okay, so you should also understand what kind of database you are using, if that is available into Flutter, and also if whatever functionality that you need is there in the Flutter plugin. Okay, so I'll give you an example of shared preference. How many have you who used shared preference into Flutter? Okay, do you know one thing? That your shared preference in Flutter works very differently as compared to Android. Okay, few of them know. Yeah, and if you dig into code, you will find out that Flutter plugin is adding its own custom names into all keys and data. And I was like, why, bro? I want to get users' data which was saved from native, right? I want that in Flutter. So it shouldn't add its own native thing, right? Its own manual thing. I should be using, or I should be adding my own, not his, right? So I found out, okay, this is a blocker. And because of this blocker, my migration was increased by 2 weeks, right? So yeah, you should know that what kind of functionalities your plugins are providing, and if that functionality is relevant for you or not. Then images implementation. So this is also not very important, but yeah, it plays a crucial role, right? For example, your native application might be using multiple types of images, SVGs, PNGs, and blah, 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 okay? And you should know if all those images are supported by Flutter or not, okay? Then deep link, push notifications. Again, these are the core thing. If your application is, or if you are not able to implement deep link in your application, you will not do migration, right? Or you might not complete your migration. So again, you should consider this thing. Then growth plugins. For example, Crashlytics, Analytics. Let's take one more example, New Relic. How many of you know New Relic? Okay, very few, but yeah. New Relic is a kind of growth plugin, or a package which will help you to understand your application growth. But if a native app is using New Relic, that means your Flutter app should also use New Relic, right? But what if they don't have a plugin? Your migration is then will stuck, and if you have written few code for 3 months, again it will be a huge blocker and huge loss of investment. So yeah, that's why you should know if your growth plugins are also available for Flutter or not. And let's say if not, okay, so there was a plugin which was not available, and we were using that for payments. So what I did, okay, I told them, okay, I know how to build plugin. Let me build my own plugin. So instead of waiting for 2 to 3 months, that the company will come up with the plugin, I created my own plugin, right? So if you have someone who can create their own plugin, yes, then go for it. Otherwise, you cannot. Okay. Compatibility. Come on, this is my favorite part. Okay, the database part which I told you, right? So it is part of compatibility, right? So let's say that your user is already logged in with the native app, but if I'm installing a new Flutter app, he should also logged in, right? So that is a compatibility. That means your older application should be compatible with your new application, and your new application should be compatible with your older application. So again, you should have list of everything that is needed for that. And I will show you one thing. So, okay. So this is the thing, I was working on. So, okay. Can you see this? So these are the questions which I asked me, okay. And if there is anything which says no, that means I cannot do the migration, right? And even though if you have something as no and you are going forward with the migration, you will end up spending a lot of time, than estimated. So, yep, you have to ask a lot of questions. And this talk is about that. So you might know all of this. So this can be a reminder for you. And if this is something new to you, then you have to just implement that. So cool. Okay, is it working? Oh, okay. So yeah, after core features, you have to build your product features. What is product features? So let's say for Zest Money, we have dashboard, we have product pages, okay, we have payment pages, we have profile, and a lot of other things. In some other application, you will have stories, you will have login page, home page, and maybe about us or contact us. That means your migration plan should include plan for all product features, okay? And if you're missing anything, that means, again, you're not considering few weeks, okay? So, yep, after core features, you have to build your product features. And I think these are easy, right? Core is something you have to think of. After that, so this one is, pain in something. So, you have to find or build plugins by yourself. If you're not able to find a plugin, you have to build by yourself. Otherwise, again, you cannot do a migration. Okay? Now you'll be thinking, Vivek, you are saying that I cannot do migration? Bro, I can. I'm not saying that you cannot do. I'm saying your planning will not be suitable with the business. Your CTO or CEO will come to you and he'll be like, okay, bro, where is your Flutter app? He'll be like, I'm just, developing it. He'll be like, bro, you already took my 7 months. How much time I should give to you, right? He'll be like, you are fired. Find some native guy. So yeah, if you're going for migration, you should know all of this. Oops. I think that is it. And I completed that in 22 minutes. That's great. Okay, now. This is very important. That is why I completed that in very early, that if you have any question or if you're going through the migration and you got something, I already connected with someone who was doing this migration. But yeah, if you have any question, do let me know or you can ask right now. Yes, can we pass mics to someone? Yeah.
Hi, Vivek.
Hi.
So basically, you talked about migrating your existing app to Flutter, and you touched the shared preferences issue. So I guess we had the same issue, and the way we dealt with it. So it was like we wrote our own plugin that would work for us. So I was just wondering what worked for you, like same thing or?
Yeah, I wrote my own plugin.
Cool.
I wrote my own plugin because I tried, going through if I can find if someone else have done and created pull request. Okay, I can use that, right? But I didn't saw anything because the migration thing that you started, I can say, few months back. Before that, we were in a phase of which is known as Flutter adoption. We were adopting Flutter. Now we are migrating to Flutter. So this is okay. Can we reconnect that again? Yeah. So this is about migrating your app to Flutter, and I'm very sure a lot of you will encounter that in next 1 year. So yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other question? Yeah, there. Okay. Cool.
So I was an earlier customer of the native Zest Money app and the recent app, and I am in the process or nearly completing the process of porting an app. So compared to other native apps, so Zest Money basically it showed a bunch of data from server, right? Some server somewhere it was showing some data. I would like to know like what was the most difficult part in porting, because for us personally, what was difficult was porting the UI. Like some UI components are not available in iOS, or some UI components are not available in Android. That was one difficult part we had.
So what kind of component? Can you give me one component?
One particular area we had trouble was rotation, screen rotations in Android versus screen rotations in iOS.
You can do screen rotation in Flutter. It is transform widget. You can rotate whole application.
At the point where we were doing it, we had some issues, glitches were there. Now it's not there, I think. But yeah, that was one portion.
Yeah. If you are early adopters, you might find some issues in 2019 and 18. But I think by 2022, even by 2023 January, you will see a lot of these bugs and things are solved. So, by the way, it was not about migration, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But what was your most hardest part while porting?
Okay, while migrating.
Yeah.
So the hardest part was the planning. As I told you that I spent my 2 weeks in just preparing the plan, right? So I was the, you can say responsible person for this migration. So I should have a plan, right? So I spent a lot of time into planning, and as soon as we started our development, then I found out, okay, there was some missing piece, and this talk is about you. So yeah, the hardest part was planning, because coding is not a problem for us, right? You can do that coding. And also, if something is not available, you can get through that from platform channels. If a view is not available to you, you can get that from platform view or texture, right? So yeah, coding was not a problem for us. Okay, any other question? I guess there was some question. Can we give mic to him? Any volunteer here? Oh, I think, okay, cool. Thanks, bro.
Hello.
Hey.
Yeah, Vivek, I have one question. If we have Flutter apps, we need to add one more module in native side. I need to add Apple Maps in native side. So before that, Bhavan said we need to call method channel. So if I call this method channel, that UI rendering issue will come or not? That is my question.
Okay, so UI rendering issue will not come if you implement add to app concept properly. Okay.
See, every seconds we call. So for example, we need to zoom and
right.
tilt.
So,
everything is
yeah.
like that.
So I built a plugin for that, and yeah. So
see, I don't need plugins. I need to call that native feature.
yeah, right. So I created a plugin that had same concept. So it was kind of zoom where you have to refresh your app or your screen, right?
I will get that rendering issue, right?
There will be no rendering issue.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying to you. If you properly implement add to app, okay, because your screen or your particular UI required 2-3 important things. One is proper size, right? How much size it will need, right? And then the proper data, right? If you're communicating any data from native to Flutter, then proper data. And third part, if you are implementing the surface, texture, or platform view, then proper calling of data should be there. If you implement these 3 things properly, you won't get any UI rendering issue, because platform view is nothing, just you can say events of view which is coming from your platform to Flutter. So it is just getting and showing. Nothing else is there. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other question? Yeah, there was. Yeah. Okay.
Hello?
Yeah.
Actually, when you said hybrid, so will there be any performance issue and app size increase?
Yep, there will be. Because at the same time you have your native thing, and at the same time you have Flutter engine in your application. And Flutter engine itself takes more than 4 to 5 MB. So yeah, you will see that kind of application size increase. And if you talk about performance, okay, so if you avoid a thing which Pawan said, okay, that open a native screen from Flutter, then again open something, some alternative thing. Right. So if you keep doing that, then you will get the performance issue. If you're not doing that, you won't get performance issue.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So I think I should stop Q&A right now, but yeah, we can meet outside. And this is what I want to share with all of you, okay, that if you love what you're doing, that means you are a successful guy. I love coding. I love, team leading at my company. And that's why I think I'm successful. And also, I love talking to you guys. I love sharing my knowledge to you. And I'm doing that, right? So, yeah, that's why I think I am successful in this. And again, if you want to be successful, do what you love, right? If you love football, play football. But yeah, don't leave your this IT career. Cool. I think, okay, that's it from my side. You can connect me on these links. And yeah, that is it. Thank you.